Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I just saw a news story first thing this morning when I woke up, and I don't know, it hit me a little hard. It was a story about a 14-year-old boy, I'm sorry, 13-year-old boy in the UK, I'm still waking up, who died due to obesity-related complications. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling at my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Yeah, I mean, as someone who I pretty much make my living talking about fitness and training and lifting and everything, who has themselves struggled with obesity, I've had to lose over 100 pounds before. Um, I don't know, man, it tears me up a little bit because it's one thing when we talk about adults making piss poor choices and it killing them due to bad lifestyle choices, but a 13-year-old. All right, at 13 years old, and you have to think about it, guys. I mean, how many years does a 13-year-old boy have to overeat to get well over 200 pounds? Because he was weighing around 230. I think that's the ballpark. Trying to convert British stone. I don't know why they do that. It's the most annoying thing they do. I have a lot of British friends. You can stop doing that, please. Put pounds or kilos, guys. You already use both. But 13-year-old to be up to like 230. I mean, how many years of just eating garbage and overeating did it take for him to get there? And at that age, you don't understand long-term consequences of your choices. So I mean, there's bad parenting involved. There's the schools maybe didn't get involved. I don't know. I don't know. I'm shocked to see how something like that even happens, though, because it was a really long-term thing. It wasn't like he just gained the weight quickly, because they found liver damage, right? And he died of a blood clot in his leg, but again, obesity related, and it's been noted that happens to a lot of kids. Happens to kids if they get really, really overweight. They can get blood clots in their legs, and he got one that killed him. But they also found apparently liver damage. So, liver damage, fatty liver, sclerosis of the liver is one of the long-term effects of morbid obesity. All right, that's a long-term effect. That takes years to accumulate. And it's what you see in alcoholics. It's the same thing. You see the exact same effect in an alcoholic that you see in a morbidly obese person in their liver. And to see this in a 13-year-old boy. 13, guys. I remember being 13. What in the hell's happening to us as a society? I mean, and I know this is in the UK. In the UK is something like, I don't know what, 10-15% of my audience. So I did start my channel when I was living over there for a little while. And, my audience is primarily American, but I mean, like, we don't have the same problem here. It's time that we've got to seriously step back and really assess health and fitness and our diets and our activities. When we're seeing a 13-year-old boy dying of obesity-related complications. I mean, guys, this isn't cancer or something that's tragic. This isn't some just random tragedy to where, man, no one saw it coming, because, 13-year-olds, they die in accidents. Or, a disease like, again, cancer or something strikes them. I mean, leukemia takes children out. But something that's completely lifestyle related. I mean, this is on par with, a child dying of a drug overdose or drug abuse at that age. I mean, it's completely lifestyle induced. This sort of thing is 100% preventable. And, again, what in the hell's going on as a society to where this happens as a long-term consequence to a 13-year-old? And I mean, maybe there's stuff that needs to be done different with parenting. But again, maybe the parents are morbidly obese, and then their lifestyle floods over to their children. And this is stuff that all of you out there need to think about. That people need to seriously think about. And I know I've had subscribers over the years who have come to me over this. I had a guy early on. I got my channel. I was about 2 years into my stuff. And over a course of about a year, and I got a little teary-eyed, he wrote me a message saying that his doctor told him he needed to lose 100 pounds or he wouldn't live long enough to see his 3 children reach adulthood. And he started his journey, and I think he had lost like 80 of his 100 just from following one of my routines and some of my advice. And, that touched me because I was thinking that exact same thing. You change that one parent and they still have small children, and they need to lose 100 pounds and their doctors told them that, and you get them started on that journey. You've got to think about when that happens, not only has that person been helped, but they're now setting an example for their children. And children who otherwise, if they've got a dad who's 100 plus pounds overweight and they look up to their father and love their father, we imitate our parents. We imitate their lifestyle choices oftentimes. And, this possibly saved the lives of this guy's children. And that's what we have to think about when we see this stuff. What example are we setting for children, as adults? Because that's how this happens. That's how this happens. It really does. No child gains 100 pounds of body fat without parents who are, encouraging it in some way. Maybe not consciously, but their own lifestyle choices. This stuff matters. Your children are going to imitate what you do. And if they see you seeing it's okay to be obese and to eat tons of junk food and fast food and everything else and not exercise and not train, what are the children learning? They're going to imitate that. And then this cycle continues. So if you can just help some of the parents out there, if you can just get them into fitness, that's how you carry over the children. That's how we prevent stuff like this. Because, this is a tragedy. This is a complete failure as a society when something like this happens, because everyone can see it. When you see a child who's getting that fat, over the years, everyone can see it. The parents can see it. The teachers can see it. Other students can see it. The kids sees it. They know. And part of our problem is that we have a whole diet industry and a fitness industry that's geared towards selling products half the time in fad diets, instead of just teaching people the basics. Teaching people to eat higher satiety food, make better food choices, getting people physically active. And I don't mean by going to pay for some silly leapfrog and grab ass class. I'm talking about telling people, look, you need to get up and be physically active. And if it's not weight training, you need to be up moving around. Just move more. We've got to get kids more physically active. I like video games as much as the next person. Look what I'm wearing. But, if we can't sit around playing video games all the time and be on our phones all the time, people have got to be active again. That's why I've told guys, man, if you're going to game, get yourself a bike that you can ride while you video game. I think that alone would help with a lot of this stuff. Because how are these kids getting fat like this? They're sitting around gaming and stuff when they're not at school. They're playing video games on their computers, on their console. Just more recumbent bikes that people can ride while they game. That alone would probably eliminate half of our obesity in younger people. Because you're not going to be able to convince everybody to resistance train. But yeah, we've got to be making better food choices. And this is kind of the big problem we run into when people start talking about, oh, we need socialized medicine in America. No, we don't. Not till we resolve this obesity problem. I don't think the taxpayer should be footing the bill when there's a McDonald's on every street corner. Should be footing the bill at all for people's lifestyle-induced diseases. And this is a perfect example, lifestyle-induced. I'm not going to blame a kid, but I'm going to blame the parents. And again, we don't know who they are because their identities have been hidden. But, what are we willing to bet that they're really obese? And maybe we kind of fall back at that point of that vicious cycle. Some people would scream and yell, blame the parents. But how many adults out there struggle with obesity? Seriously struggle with it and have no clue what to do. We don't give the best information. We don't give the best advice out there always. It's not always out there. I try to do it. But, you know, I have a limited outreach. I have, you know, 103,000, 104,000 subscribers. You know, it's only so much you can do is any one given person with this. But what happens if you know, these parents, they came from the same sort of family and they've been heavy since they were kids. They don't really have good lifestyle examples. You know, maybe they have no clue what to do. Two people got married, have a kid who both themselves struggle with obesity, and their whole household has the problem. And they don't really know what to do about it. They can't even control their own obesity. So what happens to the kid? Never had a chance. Never had a chance. But we've got to do something about this as a society, and a lot of it's got to be just encouraging fitness in general. I mean, I know I'm preaching to the choir here. You guys subscribe and watch a fitness channel all the time, or multiple ones, most of you do. So I'm preaching to the choir here, but we've got to get fitness and health into the mainstream better. We have to. We have to. And I don't mean silly fad diets and telling everyone they need to go join a Zumba class or do this Beachbody leapfrog and grab ass stuff. But we've got to get people in the weight rooms. We've got to get people resistance training. We've got to get people up and active, and we've got to cut more of the junk out of their diets. That's what we have to do as a society. And because society suffers for this. I mean, I'm big on individual choice. I have a, you know, pretty right-wing and libertarian stance. I'm big on individual choice. But at a certain point, this is a social issue that affects entire nations. It affects economies, you know, because there is a healthcare cost with all of this, right? There is a healthcare cost, and it does carry over to other people. And then the burden that goes over when it starts happening to children. I mean, this is no longer about personal choice of the individual anymore when we have children dying of obesity-related diseases. This is a point to where we, as the rest of society, have to figure out a better plan and step in and do something. And that's going to need to include stuff happening at the school level, better education, people out there who are in fitness coming up with better ideas, innovative ideas. We've got to put together ideas in the fitness world itself so that we can help the larger population. You know, we really do, because this is unacceptable. And I can't imagine anyone out here who loves fitness and loves training looking at this and being okay with this and not saying, oh my God, we have to do something. Because I see a lot of people out there, well, I'm going to be in shape because that's all good. I don't care if the rest of the world's out of shape because it just makes me look better. You know, a lot of you take that attitude, but you need to step back now and go, okay, is that attitude okay when you're having a 13-year-old kids die of obesity-related complications? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.